white tegu lizard. He comes from Argentina, throughout northern South America. So he's going to be the largest lizard species in the rainforest. There's not going to be a larger species of lizard than this guy down there. This guy's very, very popular in the pet trade. Still is. In Florida, they just made it illegal about a year ago. You cannot own these guys as pets anymore. Before that, you can go to any local pet store that have reptiles. Those are real serious with reptiles, and they usually have these guys as juveniles. $75, $100, nothing too crazy. They're only about 6-7 inches when they're a juvenile, so they're not very, very large. But they will live a long time. They will live 20-25 years. He's only about 10 right now. They grow almost their full body length and full size in that first year. So people get them, they don't realize how big they get and how fast they grow. And then they have them for another 20 years at that size. He's basically going to be a small dog. Males will get 5 feet and about 20 pounds. Males about 4 feet, about 15 pounds or so. So it's going to be a decent sized animal. They are a very social animal. They're a bonding animal. They're just like any large Amazon parrots, macaws, anything like that. Whoever they associate with the most on a day-to-day basis, that is mom and dad. So even though our owner's technically his dad, he sees me as dad and the keeper girl's his mom. He's definitely more bonded with us than anybody else. So if you work with them, you socialize with them, yeah, this is what you'll have. They can be super awesome animals. They can be very great companions. But if you get bored with them, or you don't have the time and patience or anything like that, or space for them, you just leave them in the cage and feed them in the cage and that's it, then you're just going to have a very, very aggressive eating machine. They can be very nasty if they want to be. If you do not socialize with them, they can be very aggressive. So what they have is they got a bunch of sharp teeth in the very front right here, and he's got molars right back here just like we do. So he's another omnivore. So he gets greens and fruits and veggies on a day-to-day basis, and then he gets his protein source twice a week. That way he stays nice and lean. He doesn't get obese on us or anything. So he's going to be eating a lot of fallen fruits, any kind of vegetables, a lot of flowers, different vegetation. Here he gets collard greens and mustard greens and fruits and veggies. You're sick, and then he'll also eat any kind of small mammals, rodents, fish, turtles, stuff like that, small birds. In the wild, they love eggs as well. So the issue we have in the wild down south in the Everglades, where they're invasive now, is that we have alligators, we have American crocodiles. Yes, the United States has crocodiles. Florida has actual crocodile species. Some people think they're invasive. They are not. They're just an American crocodile. They only exist in the world in the Everglades. So they already have a very small population. So these guys coming in and clearing their nests out of their eggs, alligator eggs, bird eggs, sea turtle eggs, freshwater turtle eggs, other tegus eggs, even Burmese python eggs. So any kind of eggs are fair game for this guy. They're also an issue for the agricultural industry, as they'll come in those chicken coops or anything like that. They'll go right underneath the chicken coop. They're very good diggers. They're very terrestrial, just like tortoises, and they will clean out our chicken coop with all their eggs. I just heard a story of a guy in Miami that was wondering where all of his eggs were going that one week, and came down. He was walking up his driveway, and he saw this guy walking down his driveway. Never seen that kind of animal before, had no idea what it was, just saw it was a giant dragon walking down the driveway and figured out, oh, well, that's probably what's been eating all of my eggs. And that's what, that was what was eating all of his eggs. So, like I said, people got them as pets, it didn't work out for whatever reason, it got aggressive, or when they're younger, they're very spazzy. You really got to work with them when they're younger. That's when a lot of the training is. They're very flighty, they're all over the place. You know, they're brand new to the world, they don't know who you are, they're not as trusting as when they're older like this. So that's when you gotta really have the patience with them. Sometimes it's just they don't work out. Most of the time, people just dump them out in the wild, just like their iguanas and the Burmese pythons. There's also have hurricanes that will destroy facilities and displace them as well. And they're very smart. They're very, very intelligent. And if you accidentally leave a little escape route and you don't realize you do, they will find that escape route. If you have them out and about, just have floor time and a door gets left open. They will figure it out. If you have them in their backyard, just basking in the sun, that's great. They absolutely love that. But if you have a fence line, you have nothing underneath your fence line, just like a tortoise, they'll dig right underneath that fence and then they're gone. They can also climb about 2 to 3 feet. So if you have a chain link fence, it's kind of like an alligator. They can climb it like an alligator does. So they can find escape routes and disappear as well. So now these guys are littered all over the Everglades, just like the great iguanas and the Burmese pythons. I believe they have their own hunting season as well. So now FWC, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission, changed it where you cannot own these guys anymore. You will not see these guys. You will not see green iguanas, anything like that, in the pet stores anymore. If you ever wanted one of these, you have to do 1,000 hours of volunteer work and get it signed off before you can even apply for the permit or the license. They're just trying to make it as impossible for people to have these guys, just because even though they are they can be very friendly, a lot of people just don't have the time and patience for it, and then they just have an aggressive animal that they don't know what to do with anymore. So it's just really not worth it unless it's going to be for an educational purpose. Like I said, he's going to be a terrestrial species. He's not going to be very good at digging or climbing up or anything like that on the trees. He's kind of, like you said, he's kind of thick, he's kind of chunky, so he's not going to be very agile up in the tree line or anything like that. He's very good at swimming. He can swim up to 15 miles an hour. He can run up to 17 miles an hour. He can also run if he needs to intimidate a predator or anything like that. He can run bipedally. So he can run for about 10 feet or so just on his back legs. So it can be pretty intimidating when this flat lizard is coming at you just on 2 legs. So he's going to use the long claws, the long toes. That's going to be for the burrowing, like I said. About the same as towards 6 to 8 feet down on the ground for the same thing. They're going to brumation during the cooler months, and they'll sleep down there. They'll escape predators down there. They can have their young down there. They can regulate their temperature down there. Naturally, they'll file them in the wild. They'll get filed down naturally themselves, just like if you're walking your dog on the sidewalk or anything. Here at the aquarium, we tried dog nail clippers. He's not a fan of the noise of the huffs and puffs at us every time he hears that little nail clipping noise. So no one tell her, but I've been stealing nail files for my wife for the last week, and he loves that. So he'll sit there and just let me file his nails down for half an hour or so. So that's how we keep him nice and dull here. It's also why I wear long sleeve shirts now. Only he's not doing it to hurt us, but if he just slowly walks on you, he can leave you some nice scratches and a little bit of blood once in a while. And the tail he can't regenerate. A lot of people are like, oh, it's such a big tail. Can you regenerate? He can regenerate his tail if a predator rips it off or anything. It's going to take a very long time, though, 2 or 3 months for that tail to regenerate back. And he's going to act very lethargic. He's going to act like he's almost dead the entire time. Because he's putting all of his energy that he has into growing that tail back. He cannot regrow the bone or anything like that, only the cartilage. So it's basically not going to be as bright of a color. It'll be a little bit dulled out, and it won't be as symmetrical. It'll have a little bit of curvature in it, but they can regrow it back. They use it as a propeller when they're through the water. They swim just like Godzilla does, so that helps them to swim real quickly to get away from predators or catch any prey item. He also uses it as a defense mechanism. If he wants to ram us or anything, or not ram, if he wants to slap you or anything like that with it, he will slap you with it. The one we have to worry about more than him is that crocodile monitor Craig out there. That's up, well, he's usually on the waterfall. He's underneath this log right now. His tail is about 70% of his body length, and he'll curl it up like Indiana Jones' whip, and he'll just whip you across the legs or the ankles or the face or anything. And it's not fun. This guy is not nearly as bad. His is pretty much his demeanor right here. So everyone always asks me, the biggest question with this guy is why he's got big old cheeks and big old jaws. So that's just a male characteristic. So they're sexually dimorphic as well. You can tell male from female just by looking at them. So the males will have these big old jaws, these chunky cheeks. There's no food in there, it's just meat and muscle. The females still have a large head, but it's a little more slender. So he's going to use that to find a girlfriend. So come springtime when he's looking for a mate and he wants to communicate, he sees another tegu, he'll do the same thing. He's going to put his head up, he's going to start bobbing it all crazy like, and he's going to try and show those jaws off. He's going to say, I'm the thickest boy out here in the swamp. I got the biggest cheeks out of all the other tegus. Come look at me, ladies. So, with tegus, the thicker the better. The female tegu does not want the slender, skinny tegu. She wants the fattest tegu on the swamp. The fatter the tegu, the fatter the jaws, the stronger the male tegu. That's how the females perceive it. So you want that extra meat if you're a tegu and you're looking for a mate. They will compete for females, and that's not as pretty as the tortoises are. So they will fight to the death sometimes. Like I said, they bite and they latch on. They do not just strike like a snake does. They grab you, they do not let go. So they'll grab each other and they will death roll, just like an alligator does. They can tear limbs off just like that. So it is they can be very nasty towards one another. And if you have an aggressive one, they can be very nasty towards you. So say you saw one in the Everglades or anything, don't go like, oh, that guy at the aquarium was holding it like a dog. Like, this one's got to be chill too. It's not. It's going to try and run away first because fight or flight. They're always going to try and run away first. We're bigger than they are. Snakes, anything, spiders, any animal, no matter how scared you are, I promise you it's more scared of you than you are of it. You're 10 times bigger than they are. So it's going to try and run away first, but if you don't let it run away and you're like, oh, no, I'm going to pick you up, it's going to fight you. It's going to do whatever it has to get away, so it will fight you at that point. they have a bunch of fish hook-like teeth, so that way if they grab you, you're not escaping. If they grab a fish or a prey animal, it's not going to escape. If you try to pull your hand or any body part out of their mouth and they have latched to you, all you're going to do is injure yourself more and injure that animal more. So all those teeth are going to get pulled out of their mouth, and now they're stuck in your hand or your foot, and now you got to take them out with tweezers. It's very, very painful. Usually you're definitely going to hospital getting stitches, and your hand's swelling up pretty bad. I've had one bite from one of these guys, not this one, years ago, but one around this size, and I definitely had stitches. My hand was like a softball for a couple months, so it is not very fun whatsoever. So they can be very aggressive. But like I said, it just depends on how you raise them. Just like any other animal, your dogs, cats, anything else. If you don't give them the time and attention, yeah, you're probably going to have a really grumpy animal in your hands. But if you love them, you give them the time and attention, this is what you'll end up getting. Like we don't feed him any kind of protein in his cage. That way, every time we open the cage door and we're using him for a show or just interacting with him or giving him floor time in the back or anything, he's not assuming he's getting a rodent or something like that. Instead, it's your hand. So that's when mistaken identity happens, mistaken bites happen. We don't want to make them cage aggressive. So our snakes, anything that eats any kind of protein we use for shows with the public, we do not feed them in their cage. That way they're not associating the door opening with food, and instead it's your hand. Also, if you have cats or dogs at home, you never want to pet them and then go pet your snake or your large lizard or anything. That scent can still linger on your hand if you don't wash your hands. Mistaken identities happen. Your hand, your finger might look like a little rodent to them. They can be very dangerous at times. He's going to have the same scale pattern no matter what when he goes through his shedding. So it's not going to change if he gets a new shed or anything. It's black or white to help him camouflage on the forest floor down in the rainforest. So there's not a lot of light reaches down there. So the black and white really helps with the shadowing. There's also a red tegu and a blue tegu. You will not see those guys in the wild as often. They're not going to survive, just like cystic alligators are not going to be surviving out in the wild. They're going to stick out like a sore thumb to predators when they're younger. But they are pretty cool. The blue one looks very cream colored, and then the red one looks like a dragon. It is like as red as your shirt almost, and it from head to tail just bright red. So it's pretty cool looking, I'm not gonna lie. But like I said, you're not gonna see those guys in the wild. They're not gonna camouflage as well as this guy is. They're also not gonna shed, which some people don't realize, but they won't shed in a full piece of shed. So it's not gonna be like a snake. They're gonna flake off. So usually we gotta give him a bath for like half an hour a day, and then use a little toothbrush to kind of help scrub all over his body to get his scales off. In the wild, they'd be soaking themselves in the water and then rubbing themselves on any kind of hard surfaces, rocks, wood, anything like that. Does anyone have any questions on Hulk? Well, if anyone wants to come up and meet and greet with him, he loves meeting new people. I just ask that you guys just pat him anywhere behind the head. Even though he's very friendly, it's no point in risking it. And then if you guys sanitize, just make sure you wash your hands after if you decide to catch the stingrays. The sanitizer is just really bad for the stingrays. But I appreciate your time this morning, guys. And if anyone's welcome, you guys are more than welcome to come up and tell them.
Not face on.
You kind of feel like jewelry beads. That's the best way to describe it. Kind of like Indian jewelry beads. Yep. Definitely a different feeling. But again, they're harvested mostly for one, they're down in South America, their meat, and then also for their shed, for their skin. That's the reason how they feel their handbags and everything else. Just like
We're enjoying this place. We have more to see.
Yep. It bugs me when I'm working on people on that, so they would pet them and they move the camera.
Can I go like say that like 2 minutes but after or something?
He's a huge, honestly, he's like a big puppy dog. He just has scales instead of fur. But his demeanor is that of a puppy. Appetite is like a you even give him like wet dog and cat food every once in a while. It's like a treat. High in protein. Give it to him too much, though, because they do love it. If you give it too much, they're obese and overweight. I don't, but I used to.
like me